Hello everyone, Helen Blunden here at Activate Learn on Twitter. Now it's time for another book review, and I must admit I do hope that you are enjoying the reviews of books that I share here. Many of the books I share are not on the bestseller lists. They're oldies but goodies, and they're books that I stumble upon. So this time round, I'm going to talk about Irmgard Keun's The Artificial Silk Girl. And you may have been thinking, haven't you reviewed a book of hers recently? Well, yes, I did. And I found out about her quite accidentally too, just through buying her book at a local bookstore before the COVID isolation. And I loved her first book, Gilgi, so much because it gave us a snippet of pre-World War II Germany. And it was also written by a female writer. And it was also written from the perspective of a young 18-year-old girl in Weimar, Germany. And so Irmgard Keun's The Artificial Silk Girl is a follow-up of Gilgi, but it's a different character. It's Doris. She's 18 years old and she leaves home, leaves the love of her mother, who she loves and adores, but she hates her father. And she heads into Berlin thinking that fame and fortune is her thing. She wants to go into the theatre, she wants to be discovered, she wants to live in a nice place, she wants to dress well, she wants to be the it girl. She's kind of like the original Material Girl, or the Sex and the City girl before Sex and the City. But she's young and she's frivolous, but she's also observant to the world around her, and she sees that life on the street is getting harder, in the sense that there is something happening around her, but she really doesn't want to ask the questions as to why it's happening, because she hates politics. She doesn't want anything to do with it. She doesn't want to talk about it. And yet we understand through observations that things are pretty tough down on the street in Berlin, in Germany, at this time before the war. And we have this expectation because we know what happens some years later. But she's feeling it, and yet she doesn't want to accept what is happening. To her, life is all about the good life, but she struggles to understand why it's not coming to her. And so we see her actually becoming homeless through a time in Berlin. She's quite proud of herself as well, and she doesn't want the support of her friends around her. She wants to go her own way, but at the same time she gets peeved that she has to rely on men in her life, men who she really doesn't care for, to buy her food, to buy her clothes, to kind of look after her. And so she's always compelled, she's fighting it because she wants to go her own way. Look, I like the book because of that, the fact that she gives us a different observation. She gives us her observations of life of a young girl in the early 30s, and how going out to bars and clubs, life was cared for by men who seem to skulk around young women, take advantage of them as well, married, single, you name it. But at the same time, I also liked it because she's a female writer, and when I read her story, she had some oomph about her, she had some guts about her, because she didn't agree with what was happening with Nazi Germany, and in fact she despised them because she was at her height of popularity, and the Nazis burnt her books, and she even ran away from her husband, who was a Nazi supporter, and she skipped out of the country, went elsewhere, and then she snuck back into Germany in 1940 and started writing under under an alias, even though the Germans thought that she had since died, but she didn't. She was only recently, well, not recently discovered, in the 70s she was discovered by the feminists, and only had passed away in 1982. So I'm glad that Irmgard Keun, we know of her work and that her work had survived, and that we see a more feminist view, a more proud, assertive young woman of the time in the 30s and at a difficult time. So I'm going to check out her other books. I loved her writing. Her writing just kind of moves around and just provides kind of snippets. I kind of think of it, it's like reading music, because she puts in music and lyrics, and she puts in snippets of her observations throughout the day, and she kind of laughs at herself as well. So Irmgard Keun, the artificial silk girl, and the artificial silk refers to something that she mentions, that, silk is beautiful when you wear it on the skin. It looks nice, it feels nice, but artificial silk, crinkles a lot, wrinkles a lot, and she had to wear artificial silk because she had to pretend to be famous and fortunate and rich. So there she is, the artificial silk girl, but not artificial to me. So let me know what you think about this writer. Have you read any of her other books? What were they like? Did you like them, not like them? Let me know. Thank you for watching and listening. Okay then, bye for now.